Hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for the Miles Franklin channel. And today, a quick video about some of the demand that is taking place in the gold and silver markets. As you can see here from SRS Rocco reporting U.S. Mint Silver Eagle sales jump in January. Take a look down at the chart. You can see 2018 as compared to 2019. Up 24%, so about 4 million ounces. A good start to the year, especially when you look at what's happened over the past 5 years. You can see back in 2014 and 15, over 40 million ounces, and that's really dropped off in recent years down to 18 million in 2017, 15 million in 2018. So seeing 4 million ounces in January, certainly off to a good start because at least if you had anywhere near that pace annualized, be closer to 2014 than 2018. Keep in mind, this is the U.S. Mint sale, so not the overall aggregate demand of silver, but one data point that is worth looking at. Again, not to say that we will have annualized because you had 3 million in 2018, only ended up with 15.7 total. Yet when you think about what's going on, it is interesting to see a jump in demand as compared to last year, because here we are when the Fed's supposed to be normalizing interest rates, unwinding its balance sheet, basically in the last 2 weeks, as Jerome Powell has indicated that neither of those are likely to continue. They've talked about stopping the quantitative easing. And just to put that in perspective, keep in mind that the Fed's balance sheet was about 800 billion in September of 2008, went over 4 trillion. I believe it's around 3.5 trillion now, still about 4 times as much as the pre-crisis levels. Similar with interest rates, up to 2.5%, and we're 10 years past the crisis. So if we can't unwind these things now, it makes you wonder, when is that going to be possible that that will happen? So the idea that there could be additional demand coming for gold and silver in this year certainly does make a lot of sense. And another story that I'd like to comment on quickly here, you can see on Zero Hedge, central bank's gold buying spree reaches a 50-year high. Now, I've written last year in the Miles Franklin blog about Hungary, Turkey, buying gold. Russia has been selling their treasuries, continues to buy gold. While it's a bit of a mystery how much gold China actually owns, they did report some increases as well. So certainly that fits with what I've been hearing. Here, the article mentions central banks bought last year the most gold in 47 years. You can see the chart here where really in 2011, they started buying gold, been somewhat steady, but a big jump from last year, or I guess this would be 2018. So still a big jump from the previous year. And again, when you think about it, why would central banks be buying gold? Certainly, they're not all oblivious to what's happening with monetary policy in the U.S. And another factor that now provides even more incentive for banks to not only buy their gold, but store it themselves is this ongoing story between the Bank of England and Venezuela, where Venezuela asked to repatriate their gold. The Bank of England basically said no, citing U.S. sanctions, which won't get into the politics of that for today yet. Just the idea that here's a transaction between the Bank of England and Venezuela, and if U.S. sanctions can affect that, well, certainly if I was a central banker at another nation that is holding gold, especially if relations aren't great with the U.S., I'd sure repatriate it as soon as possible. And again, given all the things many of the gold experts and that you hear anecdotally in conversations with people involved in the industry are that anytime large chunks of gold move, it's often a bit of a scramble to source it. Again, you hear numbers as high as 500 to 1 of how many paper or electronic claims there are to each physical ounce. And I've always thought that one of the things most likely to end the suppression scheme is when enough people show up demanding physical metal. And I don't think we're far from the point where if you had a surge in demand like that, that you reach that end game where it's not there, and then you have the scheme collapse. Similar to what happened with the London gold pool many years ago. So this actually has all happened again. Did write an article on the London gold pool last year. I'll put the link to that below. Really an incredible template for what could be going on right now. And if you have central banks buying gold and especially repatriating and taking delivery, that's another factor that I think will push us closer to the ultimate resolution of the gold and silver market suppression. So with that said, we'll wrap up for today, but some things to keep an eye on, some good things indicating positive movement. We have seen some increases in gold and silver prices in January, and tack on a Department of Justice investigation into JP Morgan manipulating gold and silver after one of their former traders pled guilty to doing so. And certainly a good chance 2019 is a big year, but whether it happens 2019 or takes longer, the fundamentals show a clear picture that has to be resolved at some point. So if you are interested in buying gold and silver, you can always do so at Miles Franklin by calling 1-800-822-8080. And with that said, I do hope you're having a great day out there. Thanks as always for watching, and I will talk to you again soon.